Hey, what's going on, guys? Jake Nader here, and welcome to a different style of video, a commentary video. Usually I go and do gaming videos, but today I wanted to do something a little different. I was kind of mad at myself for not making videos on WandaVision as they released, but I still wanted to make a video on it. So I decided, let's go and make a video about all the theories, the big theories that people came up with, which ones came true and which ones didn't. So let's get right into it. The first question that people kind of had since the beginning of the show: how was the Hex created? The Hex is basically what contains a lot of what happens in the show of WandaVision. Anything that happens in the town of Westview, takes place within the Hex. And it wasn't even until episode 4 that we see the outside of it. But on the outside, the Hex is basically a big box made out of almost giant red hexagonal shapes. But even though we know the outside of it now, how is it there? How is it actually created? We don't find that out until the series finale. In a scene where Wanda has a floor plan for a house that Vision gave to her. She finds the house that the floor plan is to, and when she gets there, realizes that the house doesn't even really exist. The shape of the house is the same, but the house itself isn't there. It's an outline of the house with cinder blocks. And because of that, Wanda gets filled with so much stress, sadness, from losing Vision, that she just basically explodes in the same style that she did back in Age of Ultron after she found out that Pietro got shot. She falls to her knees and just explodes with this kind of red, cloudy, like magic. But it was so powerful that it basically created a pocket reality on Earth. So all the houses, cars, people, everything in Westview got turned into 50s style sitcom town. But absolutely nobody knows that they're in the Hex. They think they've just been there all their life, basically. And kind of building off of that last question, let's go to the next one. How is Vision there? How is Vision alive? When WandaVision was announced, everyone was confused. How is Vision there? How is he alive? He died in Infinity War, so he shouldn't be able to be there. But we find out in the same scene of Wanda creating the Hex, how he's there. So, in the same scene, Wanda just explodes, creates the Hex, and then Vision goes and gets formed from this yellow beam coming out of Wanda's chest. We see Wanda, creates the Hex, and then a yellow beam comes out of her chest, and on the other side is Vision. But it's not the same Vision. He has no idea who he is, where he is, what he is. He doesn't remember anything because he's not the real Vision. But he finds out in a later episode where, because he was trying to escape, Wanda expands the Hex, swallows Vision, and an entire sword, tented facility that they planted outside the Hex to keep an eye on it. And when something enters the Hex, it turns into something that you'd see in that time period and in that area. Of course, you wouldn't see a basically military facility tent just right next to a normal town. So because of that, the tent turns into a circus tent, and all the people get turned into people that you'd see at a circus. Ringmasters, clowns, but the most interesting one was Darcy Lewis. Because she was handcuffed to a truck, she turned into an escape artist. And we also learned a few episodes back that Vision can kind of click people out of the trance that the Hex was giving them. We see it first with Norm telling Vision that he wants to see his family again. This time it's with Darcy. So he snaps Darcy out of the trance, and then Darcy goes and tells Vision everything that happened. From the beginning, where he was Jarvis, to turning into Vision, to when he died in Infinity War. So because Darcy is from the outside and knows everything, she tells him, and now he understands what's going on. Another person that he kind of snaps out of the trance of the Hex is Agnes. Leading into our next question, who is Agnes? The leading theory is Agatha Harkness from the comics. It was almost confirmed since the beginning because of her name, Agnes. Agatha Harkness, Agatha Harkness, yeah. But it was never really confirmed until one of the later episodes, where we do find out that she is Agatha Harkness, and she knew what was happening the entire time. The Hex never took over her mind. Now, if you don't know who Agatha Harkness is from the comics, she was never really a villain, but she was more of a neutral character. She did help Mephisto a lot in the comics, which is kind of like the devil of the MCU, but she's also the one who taught Wanda her powers. Agatha is just like this witch who wants to help, but sometimes can't. But in the MCU, she never wanted to help anybody. She is complete villain in the MCU. So that helps lead into the next question. What was her motive? Why was she doing all of this to Wanda? Because we didn't find out that Agatha was kind of like the villain until a later episode, there weren't really many theories. Agatha was a witch from centuries and centuries ago. She was tied to a pole during the Salem witch trials because all the other kind of like witches thought that she was the Scarlet Witch and she was too powerful. When all the witches were trying to take the power away from Agatha, she retaliated, killed all the witches, except for one. That one being Agatha's mother. She did end up killing her about 10 seconds later. But after that, she wanted to go find the Scarlet Witch and take over her power, because she thought that if her own mother was trying to kill her because she thought that she was the Scarlet Witch, that means she's very significant to the witch culture, and she wants to be that witch. She finds out that Wanda is the Scarlet Witch and wants to take all of her power. Of course, it's a Marvel movie other than Infinity War. So, of course, Wanda wins. She takes all the power from Agatha and then puts her into this trance, making her think that she's just the nosy neighbor. She doesn't remember who Agatha is. She doesn't know who she is. She's just in Westview. So, after Agatha gets defeated, gets turned into Agnes basically for eternity, Wanda goes, closes the hex, and then moves to this cabin in the middle of the mountains. But while she was making tea in her cabin, the camera pans into a back room of the cabin and sees Wanda's astral projection reading a book. That leading into the next question, what was the book that we see in Agatha's lair? That book is The Darkhold. Hey guys, editing Jake and Ader here. I was thinking, and I'm pretty sure Darkhold means holder of the dark entities. If that is what it is, I think that kind of confirms the next thing I'm going to say. Anyways, on with the rest of the video. The Darkhold in the comics is basically just what keeps the souls of all the different types of monsters, if I'm getting this right. We see the book in Agatha's basement lair in episode 7, but we don't know what it is. The leading theory was it was the Darkhold. Of course, that was what came true, but going off to kind of a different path, I want to say something real quick. This does prove that not all of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is canon, because we see the Darkhold in one of the seasons. I didn't watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I just seen clips and stuff. But we've seen the Darkhold in, I'm pretty sure, what's season 5. And it was completely different. At least season 5 and later of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is not canon. We're not completely sure about 1 through 4. Some people say it is, some people say it isn't. Personally, I don't think any of the Marvel television shows are canon. So that means Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., the Netflix shows like Daredevil, Punisher, stuff like that. Runaways. If it wasn't produced by Kevin Feige himself, I don't see it as canon. That's just me. If you want to think something different, go ahead. Not stopping you. I'm not ridiculing you. I just think, personally, it's not canon. Anyways, getting back on track. We do find out that book is The Darkhold. Breaking that flow, let's go to another question. Who is Ralph? Since episode 1, and like every episode, we have a name drop. Ralph. We have no last name. We don't have a face. We know absolutely nothing. The theory from the beginning was Ralph was Mephisto. People made this theory because Agatha said that her anniversary with Ralph was June 2nd. June 2nd, 1662, I think it was the beginning of the Salem witch trials. So because of that, people thought that it was connected to the devil or Mephisto. People also thought that it wasn't anybody. It was just, a funny name drop because sitcoms do that sometimes. But then we find out who it actually is in the series finale. A few episodes back, Wanda and Vision are having an argument and there's a knock at the door. That person being Evan Peters as Pietro Maximoff. If you don't know, Evan Peters played Quicksilver in the Fox X-Men universe. So now that he's over here playing technically the same character, people thought that this was the first showing of the multiverse. We find out in the series finale that that's not who he is. He's not the Fox X-Men Quicksilver. Evan Peters is Ralph. And it's, we also get a last name. It's Ralph
Boner.
Yeah. All that for a stupid joke. I thought it was funny. I'm gonna be honest. I thought it was funny. I thought it was clever. I'm not mad at it. A lot of people are, because they went this long making us think that he was, the Quicksilver from the Fox movies. We never got a confirmation on that, so I don't see how you can get mad at that. Like I said, I thought it was funny, but like I said, a lot of people didn't. Now that we know who Ralph is, which a lot of people thought was Mephisto, who is Mephisto? The two kind of big theories was the mailman or Agatha's bunny, Senor Scratchy. I'm guessing like the bigger one was Senor Scratchy. So let's go over that. People thought Senor Scratchy was Mephisto because I think it's Sir Scratch or something like that. Is kind of like almost a nickname for Satan. And because, Scratch, Scratchy, Sir Scratch, Senor Scratchy, yeah. People thought he was Mephisto. Well, we find out that it led to nothing. It was just a joke. It was just a name. At least for the show that we got. Because of COVID and everything that's happening, a lot of things weren't able to be filmed for WandaVision, specifically in that last episode. There's going to be a lot more. One of those things was Senor Scratchy turning into a demon. Now, we don't know if this was supposed to be Mephisto or just some random, demon, but that's what was supposed to happen. But at least for what we got, he was absolutely nobody. So breaking that flow again, let's go to a new question. Who is Billy and Tommy? Of course, we know that Billy and Tommy are Wanda and Vision's kids in the show. But in the comics, Billy and Tommy, known as Wiccan and Speed, aren't actually real, but projections of Mephisto's soul. This was also another reason why people thought Mephisto was going to be in the show, because in the comics, Billy and Tommy don't exist without Mephisto. In the show, Billy and Tommy don't exist without the Hex. But anyways, in the comics, Mephisto doesn't want Billy and Tommy out there anymore, so he absorbs them back into his soul, basically making Wanda go insane. This also leads to the House of M comic run and the famous "No More Mutants" line. But in the show, they don't really turn out to be anyone big. They're kind of the same thing as Vision. They're just kind of there, but like I said, they can't exist without the Hex. In the final episode, when Wanda gets rid of the Hex, Vision disappears, and we don't see it because Billy and Tommy were upstairs while Wanda and Vision were downstairs. But we're guessing they just kind of almost disintegrate the same way Vision does. But in the scene where Wanda is in the cabin in the mountains and her astral projection is reading the Darkhold, you can hear Billy's voice in the background, making people think that they will make a return at some point outside of the Hex, which I would absolutely love to see. I think Billy and Tommy were such good characters, and I really want to see them interact with, like, Spider-Man. I think that'd be so cool. Going into the next question, and the final question for this video, both Paul Bettany and Elizabeth Olsen said that there was going to be a big Luke Skywalker level cameo in WandaVision. We first think that cameo is Evan Peters, which would be completely understandable because of how big he is in the Marvel kind of universe with the Fox universe. But Paul Bettany and Elizabeth Olsen say that that's not the cameo that they were talking about, that there's someone even bigger. Paul Bettany said that it was someone that he wanted to work with for years. We find out that cameo is Paul Bettany himself. In the episode 8 mid-credit scene, Paul Bettany is playing a White Vision. Basically, it was all the pieces from Infinity War, kind of taken apart, putting back together, making Vision, but not really. It's not the same Vision. He goes, and it's basically a Vision without a soul. In episode 9, the series finale, they get White Vision into the Hex to fight the normal Vision. Or, quote unquote, the normal Vision. So they fight. But then, because Vision knows what happened with everything from Darcy, he brings up this, like, philosophical kind of paradox called the Ship of Theseus. But this kind of triggers something in the White Vision, letting the Hex Vision basically give all the information that happened outside the Hex to the White Vision. So now the White Vision knows everything, knows that Hayward is actually a bad guy, flies away. No clue where he goes. I think that I'm pretty sure he was supposed to do something else with the final battle, but because COVID and stuff like that, a lot of things changed. But they could probably work that into bringing Vision back. Because Paul Bettany said that if he could, he would play Vision for the rest of his life. This would be a really good way to bring Vision back for at least a few more years. So that's all I have for this video. I had a lot of fun making this. It was something different, and it was, like I said, I wanted to go and make at least a video about WandaVision, but didn't know what it was. So something like this, which I haven't really seen anyone else do, I think it was fun. And I hope you guys had fun watching it. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, hit that like button down below. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any new content like this. Again, hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next one.